What's good, YouTube? I'm back. It's been a minute. I've been uh, I've been doing life, gang. You know, doing a bit of growth and soul searching, etc. Um, Sorry for the background noise. Got a AC unit. You can probably see the office has changed quite a bit. Been putting in some work here and there, but I actually wanted to jump on a new topic. I'm still moving stuff around and trying to figure out where the fuck I want it, but gotta love that new display right there. That's pretty sweet. Anyway, so off topic today before we compare offices and geek out, see whose setup is better. The topic I want to get in today is actually really interesting, and it's more of not so much dating, but in fact it's society itself to an extent. It actually has to do with the P Diddy trial, actually, because I was really thinking about this. Set this over here real quick. It's in the way. There we go. So, I know a lot of people were talking about the P Diddy trial, and you may or may not have seen the video I put out a while back. The title was very clickbaity. Did that one for views. It was fun. I got a dude that was already raging in the comment section for the little shorts version I made. Oh yeah, buddy, you did exactly what I wanted you to. Do a little bit of trolling, we do a little bit of trolling. You know how it is out here. We do just a little bit of trolling. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I don't want you to be like P. Diddy, but we want what comes with it, right? Money, cars, power, status. That's what I was talking about in that video. Now, what I want to talk about today is, in fact, how the system treats different people. If you distinctly remember, and if you are a follower of Andrew Tate, I took a lot of things from him. I especially went through the real world for a bit, and it's actually helped me learn a lot about business. But for me, it's like only reason why I couldn't really do anything for the real world, and sadly, and this is just kind of my personal thing here too. I learned a lot from the business portion, and I'm thankful for Andrew Tate and Tristan and all the guys who are putting that together, but I've never been a training video guy. I'm more of a hands-on, and for some reason it just works better if I have people talk to me directly, and teach me directly. It's how it's always kind of been. Nothing against the real world. It's a great course, and if training videos work for you, fantastic. I still learned a lot about business and economics from there too. I learned a lot of cool shit, and I highly recommend it. I'm not affiliated, but I was a member. So props to Tristan and Andrew, bro. Good shit. I've been thinking about just rejoining for the fuck of it and see if you added anything to the more business portion, because I really loved that one. I really did. But I mean, for some reason, I just wasn't able, and for whatever fucking reason, I'm more of a hands-on and physical person. Some people are just wired that way. It's completely fine. It's not that you're lazy, I'm more of just I gotta do it myself and learn, that way. And I'm more just like, if I can have someone like physically be there and teach me, it's even better. But training videos just don't cut it. I don't know why. But nah, so for me, trial and error. We're getting way off topic here. I'm just excited to be back on this channel. But back to the P. Diddy thing. So if you remember, Andrew Tate said first thing they're gonna do is cancel you, then they're gonna put you in jail, then they're gonna kill you. Look at Andrew Tate. And first and foremost, look at Donald Trump, man. The day when he said to protest peacefully, canceled him from what was formerly Twitter, now X. That didn't shut him up. So then they put him in prison. They tried throwing him in prison. They got the legendary mugshot. I'm thinking about getting actually that and putting it on that wall right by my flag right there. I want that for my office. Dead ass. It was the most gangsta shit I've ever seen. And then after that, they tried to kill him. And how do I know that? Well, I've previously stated in past videos, Crooks and the other motherfucker were CIA assets. No, they were CIA. They were somebody, but I guarantee you those were CIA. CIA assets for sure. And hell, they might have even been foreign assets. I mean, we all know Iran has placed his out on Donald Trump. know, Godspeed T. Godspeed Uncle Trump. Yes, sir. So, you look at Andrew Tate, you look at Donald Trump, right? So, but why are we going into P. Diddy? What's up with him? Well, look at P. Diddy. Look at Epstein. Like Epstein, right? They they let him do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Now, some people think he was an intelligence asset like Mossad or whatever, and maybe even CIA for a honeypot operation. You know, I don't really know for sure. I'm thinking so because think about it this way: if you have the most powerful people in the world, and you have them on camera doing, you know, explicit things to Sheerans, you know, that's a lot of leverage, and they have politicians, business owners. I mean, you name it, they're there. You know what I mean? So that's a good way to have leverage on people to get them to do what you want them to do. And if I were a foreign adversary of the United States, and I know for a fact that I cannot beat them, and I want to destroy them, I'm going to have that on those politicians, regardless. Because we all know if you're a chomo, you don't really do well in prison, obviously, right? I mean, even my boys, you know, in the cell block don't like chomo. Shout out to you, by the way. Also, another digression here, but fun fact: have a friend or two that are, you know, ex-cons or even current felons, bro. You know, I will tell you this: you have some people like that. A lot of people like dissing these people. I think you know, ex-cons and even people who are currently trying to turn their life around or felons are some of the most ride or die, legit fucking people ever. A lot of respect to them, man. And I have a few that are ex-cons, and fuck, bro. I mean, so what? You know, it's the past. So what? Anyway, I'm gonna go back on topic here, but P. Diddy, right? P. Diddy and like Epstein, both, instead of like Andrew Tate and Trump, who the system hates because they don't subscribe to it. P. Diddy and Epstein were a part of the system, so therefore the system protects them. Now, as for the people, understand I'm talking, and I'm gonna give a shout out to like a lot of like the people here, who and the brave people who stood up to him in the courtroom, and the reason why P. Diddy got a sweetheart deal, or shall we call him Sean Diddy Combs, is because, you know, he was embraced by the system. He worked for the system. He was a part of the system, so therefore the system protects him. That's the reason why he's getting a sweetheart deal. Now, if he gets prison time, you know, he's probably gonna get that, you know, good old prison justice, and you know what? Good. He deserves it. More than deserves it. So there's that. But however, a word to the victims here is that here's my thing. I would flee the fucking country. I would. Because even Diddy, even now, even though he's behind bars, he still has a history of racketeering and all that. I have no doubt that he already has things in place to go after you. Still, he's gonna find a way. And if it were me in that situation, bro, I'd flee the fucking country. Because at this point, you know the system's backing him. They still gave him a sweetheart deal. He still got it, but he's still getting backed by him. So, you know, I would, you know, leave the U.S. if I were you. I really would. I really would. Now, I'm sorry to say, but I mean, here's the thing: the U.S. government doesn't give a fuck about you, man. They don't give a shit. You know, they really don't. And you know, for what it's worth, you guys were like brave as hell. Now, Fitty and Kendrick, watch your backs. You know, like heads on a swivel, my brothers. Because here's my thing: you think there ain't gonna be retaliation in any way, even though they got this sweetheart deal? No, 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 no. He's gonna do that. You know, I 100% believe he's gonna start retaliating, and he's gonna find a way to do it. I mean, when you have about as much money as, you know, Sean Diddy Combs has, I mean, you can do just about anything, you know. And here lies the difference, right? So, I mean, look at Andrew Tate and look at Donald Trump, which are two prime examples, right? They're the ones that the system does not embrace. In fact, they say, you know what, fuck you, right? And because of that, they're hated because they know that they can't control Trump or Tate, and so they're trying to destroy them because they speak out against a system that is fundamentally corrupt. Where on the other hand, you have, you know, Combs and Epstein and, you know, fucking Hollywood, you know, those jokers, you know. Rap game really ain't no better when you really think about it, you know. It really isn't any better, bro. Doesn't matter. I mean, all of them are freaks. Truth be told, all of them are freaks. There might be a rare few good ones, but even then, you know, Hollywood's so fucking morally bankrupt, it doesn't really even matter, and I can't really trust what I see on the screen, so. Not that I really pay attention nowadays anyways. I mainly go to like X, or Joe Rogan, you know, occasionally the Benny Show, you know, nowadays, or the Tucker Carlson podcast. I mean, either way, that's where I get my news from, you know, that's it. My thing is this, you know, I mean, you have, you know, two opposing forces, honestly and truly, that are at war right now in the world. It's both a physical and a spiritual fight. You have good and evil, right and wrong. You know, if you want to go even further and say it's, you know, God versus Satan, Allah. I don't really know much of the Quran, so I can't really say what you call Satan in there. But it is what it is, you know. And here's my thing. You know, at this point, you have to pick a side, bro. Like, as a man, especially in 2025, you have to pick a side at this point. You either support the system or you're against it, you know? And yeah, well, supporting the system might make your life easier, you know, it's gonna be, it's still, you're selling yourself out, right? You're still selling yourself out. Versus you're against the system, yeah, your life is going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, you know, it's going to kick you in the balls more often than not, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to sell my soul. And I noticed that when I started going against the system and, you know, speaking out, like, my life just at random points became so fucking difficult, like the system was trying to destroy me. And that's how I know I'm doing the right thing, because when I speak out, my life becomes increasingly hard, increasingly more difficult, and in fact it causes me to suffer more, but I do it anyways because I know that, you know, if I'm being silent, I know I'm selling my soul, you know. I can't do that. Like, I feel wrong and I can't do it. So you really have a choice, bro. You know, my brother in Christ or just my brother in general, you have a choice. You know, 2025 is the year you have to choose, bro. It's the year you have to choose whether to become independent, self-sufficient, and fight against all the bullshit and corruption that's going on in society in your own fucking way. Or, you know, you're just well, you're fucked, bro. I mean, either way, you're fucked. I mean, look at the world around you, right? So, and you hear a lot of conflicting news, and I'm going to tell you why you're fucked as well. Let's kind of digress a bit further here. So if you've been paying attention to AI and the current developments, you'll see a lot of the founders and a lot of people that have vested interest, aka stocks, say that AI is a good thing, right? AI is going to be really good. And you have other people who are looking at this from a neutral standpoint and are saying, yeah, there's a really good possibility this isn't going to end well. You know, and these are people that, you know, even like cybersecurity experts that I know and also have seen that have said, yeah, this probably isn't going to be super great, but, you know, it is what it is. I'd say roughly 350,000 jobs across all sectors are going to be gone by 2030. You've seen the androids that they're making. Well, they can't do anything truly complex yet. I mean, a lot of jobs in the next, couple of years are going to be taken away, just because of automation overall. So there is that, and you have to find a way to thrive in this brave new world, man. And that means you got to learn how to use AI and use it to your advantage. You have to. You don't have a choice. You have to find a way to become self-sufficient. You don't have a choice. It's practically a requirement. As a man, it's a fucking requirement, bro. You need to get yourself and put yourself in a position to where you're always going to be needed. No matter what. So that means, you either start a business or you start learning fucking skills, bro. And you start getting fucking skills. You need that. You don't have a choice. You have to. You have to. And that goes into the second portion of this video. When it comes to life, you gotta roll with the punches. You have to. You don't have a choice. You have to skill up, and you have to make progress in any way, shape, or form that you possibly fucking can. Okay? 2025 is the year where, it is either go big or go home. It is either do or do not. These next 4 years are fucking critical. So make use of them. Make use of these next 4 years, man. And don't tell me that, if you tell me that Biden was in office and I couldn't do it, before because Biden was in office. Here's the thing, Bubba, there were those of us who were still trying even when Biden was in office. When shit was hard, we were still working on making businesses. We were still skilling up. We were still investing into ourselves. You don't have an excuse, regardless. I mean, I'll give you some leeway, but even then I was broke as hell, still trying to fucking scale up, I still put in the work. You don't have an excuse. So, if you aren't already investing your time into learning AI, I highly fucking suggest you start today. Because at the end of the day, as AI grows, as quantum computing grows, as this current divide between America and, by the way, the world, let's just also go into that a bit, this fight versus good versus evil, right? You look at the world around you, you look around and you see people are going fucking insane, bro. People have lost their fucking minds. And here's the thing, you can try and say, oh, it's going to get better. You can bury your head in the sand. You can try and ignore what's going on. But at the end of the day, deep down, you know the fact that we are far too fucking polarized now. We can't even come to an agreement on simple fucking shit. And I'm coming off as pretty fucking abrasive right now, but here's the fucking thing. You need to fucking hear this. Because, I get tired of going around, and I get tired of seeing people bury their fucking heads in the sand. I get tired of seeing people, because they think we won. Okay, great, but we've won the battle. We haven't won the war, motherfucker. This is still a culture war. This is still a fucking culture war. What are you doing? You're celebrating before we've even crossed the finish line. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. There's still a lot of shit that we still have to fucking do as a culture, And I'm not just talking Republican. I'm talking fucking Democrat. I'm talking, center, people who don't really give a shit. Here's my thing. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm not even necessarily MAGA either. Okay? Yeah, I voted for Trump. Yeah, I'm MAGA, but here's my thing. Both sides of the aisle are corrupt. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. Both sides of the aisle, neither is perfect. Neither. And here's my thing. I'm not saying I'm not America first either. I am America first. You know, frankly, I don't give a fuck about, you know, the Middle East, the UK, you know, fucking Israel, Gaza, fucking Palestine, fucking Ukraine, Russia. I don't give a shit. You know, let's focus on fixing shit here back home, right? Because the fact that we still think we can go on the world stage and talk shit when things are as fucked up as they are here, that's some Joker ass behavior, bro. Still a lot we gotta fix. There's still a lot we gotta fix. And we have no excuse to be on the world stage right now. That's just my own personal opinion, but I'm entitled to it. Freedom of speech, it's my First Amendment. I don't care about either or, you know. I really don't. For all intents and purposes, I mean, we gotta focus on what problems we got going on here. We can worry about other shit when we get things fixed here. Okay, good, we closed the border. Great. What about more drilling, right? What about, you know, maximizing our energy infrastructure? You know, why not put a lot of work into that, right? Should be able to do that. Why not talk about the things that a lot of people don't want to talk about? Why aren't we talking about a lot of this shit? You know, I mean, I understand, yeah, I voted Trump, great, okay, but here's my thing. You know, it seems to me like we're still kind of doing what the left does. We still try and still cling to our own ideologies, right? But it blinds us to the fact that there's a lot of other shit going on that people don't want to fucking talk about, you know, and very few do even then. You know, because when I come on here, I'm coming from a perfectly neutral standpoint. Perfectly neutral. Let me tell you something. I mean, I will say this America First agenda is better than fucking Camel Toe Harris's, you know, opportunity economy or whatever the fuck. Sounds like a pyramid scheme, but whatever. I think I've said that before. What are we doing? Right? Let's not even begin to talk about the fact that I'm not even gonna go there right now. That shit, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna skip that for now. Get into that in another video. Get into that in another fucking video, man. Still need to sort my thoughts out there. Fact of the matter is, we're still in a culture war. You know, we're still, you know, still dicking around, not focusing on the important shit. You know. We know Diddy got a sweetheart deal. Oh, and we also know he was the rap game version of Epstein, so we also know he was colluding, if you will. Hint, hint. No. In some way, I mean, shit, bro. Whether he was intelligence or he just paid off a few politicians, couldn't tell you. Paid off a few government officials, couldn't tell you. I don't know for sure. It could have been a bit of both. The point that I'm trying to make is that you have another really good look about how corrupt things are, and again, you know, you at this point you were either you know, in the category of Donald Trump or Tate, or you're in the category of like P. Diddy, Epstein, and the fucking Democrat Party, and everybody else who sold out. Is good versus evil. You're either a patriot or you're a fucking sellout. You're either. It's not even about being right versus left. It ain't even that. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Despite what the fucking media wants to tell you, and I know that it's rare, I know a couple of people who happen to be Democrats who I can actually have honest fucking debates with. And it doesn't resort to these childish insults or fucking violence. And I know there are more of them out there too. And that's the fucking crazy part, right? I have a couple friends who are gay. Coolest fucking dudes, bro. It's like they want you to fucking hate each other, right? It blows my fucking mind that, we, even as, America First Party, I'm not going to call myself MAGA. I'm not necessarily even Republican, bro. I'm not even necessarily there. You know what I mean? I chose Donald Trump because he was the best fucking choice, bro. And, I remember the first 4 years. Because honestly and truly, all I want is I want our veterans taken care of. America first in general. But at the end of the day, I know that, not, both parties are still corrupt. And I'm not going to get brought in and get blinded by everything. I'm still going to have a neutral view. I'm still going to have a neutral standpoint because that allows me to make the best possible decisions. I know there's some people, might say, oh, well, you're a traitor. No, I'm not. I'm doing this because I'm not going to get blinded. I'm not going to, I'm not going to get put in the same decision as the left and the right are. At the end of the day, I'm not going to get involved in that shit, I'm going to make the best choices and vote on things that are good for America. And they're going to be good for my kids, my grandkids, That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at it from a neutral standpoint. And that's what I wish people did more. That's what I wish people did, we get too wrapped up in politics and ideologies and, you lose yourself. And what are you going to do, right? But at the end of the day, I do know one thing. America first. Let's focus on America. Let's focus on, not teaching gender ideology to kids. Common sense. Let's not keep, men and women let's keep men out of women's sports. Let's, take care of our veterans. Let's make sure we have a good economy, and let's become, energy dominant. Let's focus on keeping our freedoms, our freedom of speech. Let that not be infringed. No more censorship, no more bullshit. Stop having our right to bear arms, being challenged by the federal government shall not be infringed, motherfucker. Remember that one. Hashtag two-way. And, let's just fucking actually get ourselves in a fucking space, I know it's a lot to ask, but let's just put ourselves in a fucking headspace where we can actually talk shit out without firebombing Tesla dealerships and without fucking, just doing all this fucking crazy shit, I'm just saying, I know that's probably a lot to ask for in 2025, but, better to be positive over, fuck, all this other crazy shit that's going on. Why the fuck ask for violence? Why not be a voice of peace and a voice of fucking reason? Not in like a fucking hippie way, okay? I mean, I'm probably more armed and more fucking prepared than a lot of fucking people, but even then, you know, even then, you know, because we have a lot of people saying, oh yeah, let's have a fucking civil war. And both sides have said it in the past. Let's not fucking deny that shit. You know, that's dumb as fuck, by the way. I've already made a video on that in the past too. If you wanna go back to that and kind of look through my bit of a catalog here. Why can't we all just take a fucking step back, cool our fucking jets, relax, and really take a long, hard fucking look at how fucking ridiculous, you know, shit is in this country right now. Because it is. It is. I mean, we're killing babies, you know, telling children that, you know, they can make life-altering decisions when they're not old enough to vote, not old enough to get a tattoo, not old enough to buy liquor or tobacco, not old enough to hold a gun, not old enough to join the military. Holy shit. That's crazy, right? Let's look at that, you know, putting men in women's sports when men have a biological advantage. I'm sorry, ladies, it's true. We do. We have a biological advantage. It is what it is, you know. Don't diss me for speaking facts. You know, because at the end of the day, I don't fucking cater to anyone. Like, I'm going to give you the objective truth, you know, from a non-biased fucking perspective, you know. Because that's what you fucking need, bro. I mean, either way, I mean, respect to the Benny Show. I mean, respect to all that, but, you know, regardless of what you want to say, it's real news. It's still motivated in some way by politics or ideology. You know, I keep the bare basics, right? You know, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not covet their neighbor's property or their wife, all that other crazy shit. You know, 10 Commandments. I'm trying to, you know, do my walk with God, and some people might say I'm a bad Christian for it. Bad Christian that I fucking curse. But you know what? You know, in my opinion, in today's society, you have to be a bit abrasive with people. Because for some reason, you know, when you try and actually fucking talk to people, you know, they don't seem to want to fucking listen or fucking pay attention unless you're a bit of an asshole. So I'm going to do God's work by being a bit of an asshole and trying to, you know, slap some fucking sense into you from across the fucking camera. You know? Because you fucking need it, America. You do. You fucking need it. You know? We still have, you know, fucking Republicans wanting to get into fucking wars. I thought we were not going to be fucking doing that shit, but yet here the fuck we are. You know, I thought we were going to stop this Ukraine-Russia bullshit. Okay, so maybe it was CIA. You know, like, we can do that. I mean, they're known for not exactly being exactly transparent because they're not tied to the federal government or Congress. Okay, sure, I will give you that. Barely. Because I know they've done fucked up shit in the past. I will give you that grudgingly. But you better fucking start getting your shit together. That's what you need to fucking do. Okay? Because there isn't a single American citizen, save for the fucking warhawks, who want fucking World War III. We don't want a lot. We don't want fucking wars, man. We don't want forever wars. We've made that fucking clear. Very fucking clear. You know, while you guys sit in your fucking chairs in fucking Congress in the Oval Office, you're sending young men 25 years old and 22 to 25 to go die in a fucking ditch somewhere. You know, for what? For what? Because some, you know, douchebag in Congress doesn't like Russia for whatever fucking reason, or they don't like Iran for whatever reason. Who gives a shit? You know? They're way the fuck over there. Okay, yeah, so what if they have a nuclear program? Okay. And I get it. Iran, terrorism, blah, blah, blah. Sure, whatever, you know. But I'm going to argue this. We were told there were weapons of mass destruction. You know, way back when. There weren't. Okay? So my thing is this. If we were lied to about that, we were lied to, what the fuck else are they lying to us about then? You know? Think about that for a minute and really look at that from my own perspective here. You know, try and look at it from that standpoint. And let me ask you a question. If this is the case, then, you know, why aren't we asking fucking questions? And by questions, I mean legitimately fucking asking questions. You know, did you know that back in the day, we used to be able to petition the federal government and be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? You know? But then, bureaucracy, then we have all these fucking, advisors and all this other bullshit that these fucking politicians have to do, and then corporate fucking motherfuckers are lobbying and every, and then it just becomes this fucking morally bankrupt shithole, and you know that's how DC becomes the way it is. You know, money and ideology get in the way of a lot of things in DC, and that shit needs to fucking go. If you really want to fucking fix America, you got to get rid of all the lobbying and all the corporate insider trading, all of this bullshit. But you know they're not gonna fucking do it because they're making a shit ton of money. And then at this point, it's rules for thee and not for me. Understand, your government, regardless of the party, doesn't give a fuck about you. They do not care. They're all bought and sold. They're no better than a prostitute. They're used just as much. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. And at the end of the day, you know, 2025 is the year, bro. You make a choice. You really got to make that choice. So, you know, think about it. Think long and hard. And if you like the video, rate, comment, subscribe. You know, it'll make things a lot fucking, because you're gonna get occasional videos from now on. I'm gonna be coming back on a bit more regularly. You know, as I'm trying to. It's not gonna be every single day, but I might try and get on at least once or twice a week. Because right now, on the topic of AI earlier, I'm actually building a fucking business based on AI right now. So, I'm going to get on when I get back on, either way. Hope you liked the video. Again, rate, comment, subscribe, and, you know, have a good one. Peace, squad. Shit.